Hello, everyone. I'd like to start the Planning Commission meeting for June 2nd. First thing of order is the call to order. And the land that we know as Squim was once inhabited solely by First Peoples known as Sklallam people, represented by the three tribal governments, Lower Elwha Sklallam, Jamestown Sklallam, and Port Gamble Sklallam. We serve as stewards of the land with the city of Sequim with the same care and consideration the Sklallam tribes has and continues to provide. This acknowledgement is a respect to the Sklallam people and their history. The Planning Commission serves as an advisory body to the City Council. The purpose of the Planning Commission is to provide guidance, direction for Sequim's future growth through continued review and improvement to Sequim's comprehensive plan, zoning code, shoreline management, environmental protection, and related use documents. The Planning Commission will have all the powers and perform each and all the duties specified by Chapter 35A, .63 RCW as amended and set forth or amended by Ordinance 2009-036, 2009-030. So could we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Cummings,
Here.
Commissioner Kuntz,
Present.
Commissioner Fain, Commissioner Habel,
I'm here.
Commissioner Huth,
Present.
Commissioner Lefevre, here, Commissioner Mahalik.
Here. Thank you. Do the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have some minutes to approve from the May 19th meeting. Are there any amendments or corrections to those minutes? Seeing none, can I have a motion to approve those minutes? Second. Thank you. Please raise your hand if you approve the minutes. I guess we should, there's a couple of people online. Are you guys raising your hand?
Yes, this is Commissioner Kuntz. I have my hand raised.
Thank you. Thank you. So the minutes have been approved. So the next thing we have is public comment. Do we have anybody here for public comment? Anybody online?
No one at this time.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll go on to general business. We got a comprehensive plan update. Carla, please.
Yes, well, as we do every time, it's a status update on the comprehensive plan. As you know, we've been waiting for our functional plan updates through our Public Works Department, kind of catch up with us a little bit so we can finish the capital facility plan component of the comprehensive plan. We're almost there. We believe we are on track to get our final transportation master plan this Friday. In which case then, assuming it comes in, it's all buttoned up, I'll be able to give you guys your final schedule that you've been waiting for. But we're having a working date of July 10th for the release of the comp plan, development regulations, and the SEIS, because our consultant working on the supplemental environmental impact statement's been waiting for this transportation plan. If we can get it all done sooner, we will, but that's the date that it's going to necessarily take to get through final drafting and then internal reviews. What that means is kind of what we've been saying all along. Your public hearings will probably be at the end of August, maybe it may tip into early September, but we probably can get your piece of it done by the end of August. So I do believe at your next planning commission meeting, we'll be able to have some date certain for you, for all of us to work forward to. So thanks again for your continued patience. We feel really good about the transportation master plan. I think it's one of the first times that our DCD was integrated into their review. So I think it's made it better, as it always does. It made it a better document. So we're excited to share that with y'all, and thanks again. But we're almost there, we're rounding the corner, and then we'll kick it off. We'll do some public outreach, and then of course we'll have hearings in front of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. You're up next, Travis. For new business, tell us about
I am.
Title 18.
So, yeah. Well. Oh. All right. Hey, that was good. I guess before we get into it, I just wanted to give a quick shout out because they are both retiring here soon, Barb and Patsy. And so a lot of the pictures that I've used in the recent slideshows have been pictures that I've taken from the city's S Drive. And they're all photos that I'm assuming either Barb or Patsy have taken. They're great. And I just really appreciate having a long catalog of photos to go through that really give a good indication of Sequim and what it's like to live here. And so we are going to miss them. And whoever takes their place will have big shoes to fill. So appreciate them because it helps make these slideshows a lot more personable for Sequim. So, but yes, more Title 18 updates. So the topics we're going to talk about today are chapters that we are not proposing any wholesale changes to. I think as we've discussed at previous meetings, the big changes or minor changes, I should say, about these or for these chapters is going to be more just a formatting into the larger Title 18 update. So they'll have new numbers, new locations within that Title 18 layout. And then we'll take that opportunity to clean up any language that is necessary, but not really substantive, just more, like replacing shall with things like must and how that goes. To make our city attorney happy. So that's kind of the bulk of what's being proposed. But tonight I just wanted, we are opening up all of Title 18. So if there are things about these chapters in their current state that, the Planning Commission wants us to take a closer look at while we're in here, then, we might be able to find some time between now and public release. But these were not thought as necessities as part of the comp plan update and the Title 18 update, but maybe something that we could do later this year or early 2027. So jumping right into it, non-conforming standards. So this is a picture of, I'm sure as Sequim residents, we have train car kind of, I guess, short-term rentals, similar to like a hotel or an Airbnb. You can rent them to stay in the zone that they're in. They wouldn't be permitted as of today, but they are allowed to continue to be operated and continue to be maintained. So there are similar instances of uses and things like this all around. And so really the main purpose of this section is to establish kind of some, you can go back, yeah. Is to establish kind of like how these are allowed to stay, if something were to happen to them, can they be replaced? So kind of to break that down, nonconformity would lapse after a year. So if a use ceases to be utilized, used, operated for a year, then their nonconforming status would go away. And then if there's a damage to a structure, like there's two real instances. So single family and duplexes in commercial zones, if there is damage to those, they are allowed to be rebuilt in their entirety. However, they would have to just meet current bulk and dimensional standards. And then all other structures can only be rebuilt if the damage is less than 50% of replacement costs. Otherwise, then the new use would have to meet current use standards. So that's kind of where nonconforming lives today. Again, it works. There aren't any issues. We don't get much feedback or complaints from the community on this one. So wasn't one we determined needed to be addressed. Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, I told you I'd have one question, and this is actually it. Are the non-conforming properties, are they transferable? Meaning, in your example, could they sell it and it could continue to be
Yes.
non-conforming?
Yeah, as long as the use itself doesn't stop. So like even it could be an entirely different business too, right? But if it's the same use type, but it's just a new brand or whatever, that would be transferable as well.
In this example, those units could be replaced by like tiny homes.
Ooh. If so, it it's possible. You're towing into the replacing of structures now, which is a little bit different than right. Because like if the use remain, we could talk about that one.
Yeah,
It is a good example though. It's probably an extreme case, but it's a good one to bring up. But the current code would allow us to figure it out. So
Are you saying instead of rentals, these would be used for long-term rental as a
Well,
tiny
so
home?
first of all, I just wanted to know, is it transferable? And the answer is yes. Yeah, if somebody were to buy this, they can
Uh-huh.
continue to operate it, so it doesn't
Mhm.
just cease with the owner. And then what I heard was, as long as it continued to stay
Mhm.
in that type of use, meaning you couldn't open up restaurants in here, I'm assuming.
Right.
You couldn't turn each one of those little units into a restaurant, but you might be able to replace
Yeah.
the structure with like a tiny home, which would be the same property
Yeah.
kind
It's
of thing.
it's
It
an
would be a
interesting
unit to sleep in.
it's an interesting thought because it's possible that both the use and the structure are non-conforming in this instance. And
Right.
I'm not saying that they are. I know the
Yeah, and I
use
have
is
no
for sure,
plans,
but-
so there's no conflict of interest here, but I thought this was a good example of something that could be
Sure.
kind of upgraded.
Yeah.
And it could be for, somebody could use it for home homes, or they could use it
Well,
for whatever.
But you said X% as long as X% remains.
That's if they're damaged. So like if there was like a fire or some sort of thing that would damage them, then
So they could replace one of these. Let's say one of them caught fire. They could replace it with a tiny home.
possibly. I can't say yes for certain.
Possibly.
I think possibly. I think that since the use is staying the same, I think we're closer. I think in my first kind of thought, my first thought to it would be maybe. I think I'm closer to saying yes for replacing a structure and maintaining the existing use than I would, the use changing. Because it sounds like in your scenario, the use would stay the same. It would still be kind of a short-term rental type gig, which ultimately, we could consider it.
Do we have a tiny home village area?
No.
So this would be as close as other than
Probably.
mobile home parks.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Mhm. Okay, any other questions on non-conforming standards or, okay, we can move on to signs. Yeah. So the sign code may not be my personal favorite. But the updates necessary are, they're less tied to the whole of the work that we're doing right now. And to be honest, I think they need more dedicated time and review to overhaul, and we really need to give it its time and real central focus. So that's why this one was kind of identified as we'll do this later when we can really dive deep into it and not have it kind of get bogged up or gunked up with the rest of the work we're doing. But in its current state, for whatever it's worth, we don't get much, if at all, any sort of negative feedback from developers on how it is administered or how it's applied. The biggest, I think, complaint we get actually relates to more like temporary signage and how that is dealt with. And we find our way through it well enough today, but those are the kinds of things that I think we would update as we look at things like temporary use permits and special event permit code updates. There will be a need to also update the sign code to reflect some of those changes and other things as well. I mean, there's lots of case law and statutes that we would have to do a lot more research on, I think, to ensure that we are totally in compliance with everything that we need to do. But in its current state, we regulate mainly types of signs. We don't regulate content, which is kind of like we're doing a lot. Like that's good. Like we can hang our hat on that. And then when we do go and make some big changes to it, we can really make kind of like some precision and really targeted adjustments to make it work better for us. But in its current state, we can use it, and it works. So wasn't identified as something we needed to do and had to do now. So any questions on sign code? Wireless communications facilities, and this also will include, there's a second, almost kind of like a sub chapter that is eligible facilities modifications that goes with this. Then so those will both go over as they are in their current state. We don't deal with these very often from the sense of new wireless communications facilities. So a lot of the permits that we get are repairs or maintenance of existing. And the people that are applying for them pretty much know what they're doing, and it makes it easy for us. So for me, when I'm reviewing, I'm really looking at past conditions of approval of already approved wireless communication facility plans and making sure we're still in keeping with that. And then Joel does a good review on them as well from the building side of things. But it's another one that if we are to update it, probably needs a more dedicated and kind of individual review and process. And it can be done at a later date, and we'll just want to make sure we're as up to date as possible with all state statutes, RCWs, and everything to make sure everything's good to go. But in its current state, we haven't had any complaints. We haven't had any issues come about. And because they're so few and far between when we get these, it wasn't identified as like okay, we need to stop everything we're doing. We need to fix this code. This code seems to work in its current state. And so it was one that we decided would be better suited, updated later. Question, go ahead, Dennis.
Yeah, just a quick question. I know the FCC did some regulation amendments regarding small cells a number of years ago. That link has been incorporated in the sign
I
code?
don't believe so.
Oh.
And I have at least been in coordination with the legal department, so they're aware of some of these things. You know, in the grand scheme of things, when those go into effect, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, we would default to those regulations if our code ran afoul of them.
I always appreciate, Dennis, your questions because I'm literally writing something down as you ask the question. So we have not updated this code for the small cell. They have been in effect actually a couple of years now. Travis is right that if we were to get them, we'll just default to the shot clocks and the requirements under the FCC. We haven't. And then I feel like also, what is it? The 5G, is that the same thing? The small cell and 5G. Yeah. So I think they're still, last I heard, kind of figuring that out in the I-5 corridor. So they haven't quite made it over here, but it is true. We do need to do that. And we haven't. And Travis said, I was just noting for our future work plan would be sign code and wireless. We'll do the, we'll take care of that as part of that update.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions on wireless? No. Okay. All right. ADUs and transitory accommodations. So we are just going to take these directly from the 1821 that we just adopted that you guys have already reviewed. So there's really not much to talk about. We've got a lot of interest in utilizing the new ADU code, so we'll see how that goes. Nobody's really taken the dive yet, but there have been lots of conversations at the counter about it. So I'm excited to see where that goes. I think some people are waiting to see if any of the bulk and dimensional standards that we are proposing to update, with the zoning code later, will make it even potentially easier. So But no discussion or amendments really necessary on these ones since you just saw them. So, and transitory accommodations is just that religious emergency housing. So. All right, mobile food vendors. This is another one that was modified and adopted fairly recently, back in 2023. So I think a good number of you may have actually seen that when it came through. So it's fairly new set of requirements, or at least updated requirements, relative to a lot of the other work that we're doing that was in desperate need of updates. We have gotten 0 requests from the folks that are using it to make any changes to it. So I have to assume that those that are using it, it's working for. And it's been fairly easy to administer. So I don't have any hardship or heartache over its current state. But do you guys have any questions, desires that you would like to see differently about it? Or are you good the way that it is? Good the way that. All right. Moving right through it. Okay, annexations. So this the picture here is Flores Acres. So if you guys are following along, there's an annexation in the works for Flores Acres. I am not the one administering that, so I may default to Carla here in a sec, but because I have not personally used the annexation code. Again, it was not one that was really identified as one that needed to be updated, as we historically hadn't done them in a really long time. And now it seems like we've got a handful of them that are on the cusp of wanting to occur here soon, from Flores Acres to PNNL to a few others here in between. So I'll defer to Carla to see if she's got anything she wants to add on the current state of the code and whether or not it's maybe one that we want to look at later or if it's fine.
I think I'll just say that, in general, I think as far as substance goes, it's going to be fine. It was established in 1998. So I think there's a little bit of just kind of modernization we're going to do with it. But in general, the substance of it is going to stay the same, and it establishes pre-annexation, kind of some policies of how we how annexations interact with our comprehensive plan and our zoning map, and then there's some standards. So again, it'll follow probably the topics that you saw in the annexation, but will be probably updated for kind of modern language and some probably just general cleanup, as Travis said. I'll just note that Scott was the planner on is the planner on Flores Acres. We're about maybe 60% through it, and maybe 50. Yeah, I think it's 60, maybe 70%. Yeah, but it's been a great experience. It's been 20 years since the city's done one, so Scott and I learned together how to do an annexation. So we're ready now for any future ones.
To variances. Variances are another one we don't deal with very frequently, and I think that's a good thing. They're heard by the hearing examiner, so when they do come up, often they are either tied to a development or it's an individual property owner who's got a problem lot or a development site that needs some sort of relief because of something that they can't control or that they are not responsible for. Things like topography issues that maybe they need relief from setbacks, stuff like that. In my time here, this is the one that we had. It was on a subdivision where they needed relief from strict application of the 2 points of access distance from each other code. So the code at the time required that the 2 points of access provided had to be no less than 1/2 of the greatest distance between the opposite, something along a long distance between opposite corners, cut it in half. That's how far apart the 2 access points had to be. They couldn't meet that because of the existing development in the area. And so this variance was granted with conditions of, sprinklering after X number of homes, and they were able to do it. So it wasn't a strict, or it wasn't a full on granting of the variance because there were conditions really kind of tied to it. That, and I guess just for the sake of it, we have addressed that in our code updates so that they wouldn't have needed a variance if this were to come in today. So it could be addressed just by utilizing some of the relief that's in the IFC for this exact thing. And that would be potentially something like sprinklers when you exceed the amount. So again, not one that we deal with every day. The code works in its current state. There are no real major red flags or issues. And if anything, I think a lot of the work that we're doing today and in throughout Title 17, 18, and then also, a little bit in 20 will help us maybe not need to even think about variances as much. So, and they'll just be truly for the projects that actually need them. Like I mentioned, when you've got topographic challenges, setbacks, relief, things like that, where you just can't make it work without some relief. So any questions on variances? No? All right. So I think I already know the answer to all these. Do you have any recommended changes for non-conforming standards? Nope. All right. Any concerns with us waiting on the sign code? Nope. Wireless communications. Dennis, great question. Mobile food vendors. I think I already asked if there was anything you'd like us to change. Sounds like no. Annexations. Any other questions for maybe Scott or Carla? No. All right. And variances. Good. Okay. Last slide, or I guess second to last slide. So as Carla kind of already mentioned, on the 16th, we'll do an overview of the public release for the comp plan and the future land use map, redesignation request updates. So I have heard back from all of our redesignation requestors. Those that we were not recommending all have withdrawn. So we are only going to be moving forward the ones that we are recommending for approval. So that works. And as for July, anything you want to discuss?
So, yeah, thank you, Travis. So what I wanted to mention on the 16th too is I'll be bringing back the transportation chapter of the comprehensive plan to the Planning Commission. Transpo is part of their working on the transportation master plan and kind of finishing up working with the staff, has some additional edits to the transportation plan since you saw it last summer. So I just wanted you to have one more kind of look at it with their edits to it before it all goes into a very clean copy, and which will be the July release. So that's one thing that we'll touch on too. It shouldn't take you that long. There's not that many edits that they've included. But again, I thought it would, since we had, I think, capacity at that meeting for you to add that to the agenda. So for July, I kind of wanted to test the waters. July 7th is your first meeting. It's coming around to July 4th weekend. We're letting Travis take a vacation, so he'll actually be gone that week. So we could, I'm sure, come up with something, but I just thought maybe you guys might want to take that 7th off because it is over a holiday weekend. So that's discussing. And then your second one, which would be the 21st, would be probably close. We'll have a comp plan release. God willing, knock on wood, we'll have a comp plan released by then. And so that will be the 21st. We'll talk about the release and go over all the things and talk about the capital facility plan. Or am I getting general consensus that we can cancel on the 7th? Okay.
Carla, this is Commissioner Kuntz. I'm fine with canceling on the 7th, but if something comes up, I will be available.
Okay, great. That's fair. If something comes up that we need the commissioners to, I'll also email you and let you know, but thank you for that. And yeah, we'll let Travis have a well-deserved vacation. So thank you. So that's our plan for July. And then, as I said, we'll have a schedule. I will have a schedule and I'll email it out to you. How about that? In lieu of sending that agenda, like as an agenda item for the 7th, I'll send you out the agenda the schedule for your July and August once I have that buttoned up and finalized. I'll do that via email. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have a director's report now?
Well, I do.
Okay.
Go ahead. Actually, I have a special guest. Our IT director is here to chat with you a little bit. Nick's going to be passing out some information that I'll let him introduce himself, but he'll be chatting with you. And that in him being here as our guest speaker is my director's report. I won't have any follow-up.
My name is Oleg Stan. I'm an IT director for the city of Sequim, and I just need a little bit of your attention. So about a year ago, city started a new program. It's called Fish Firewall. And different organizations actually approach cybersecurity differently. Some of organizations actually have like a month, cybersecurity month, where they basically have long presentation and things where they go over. We decided to go a different route where we have very short different training that we actually send out throughout the year. And short training, it's like 20, 30-second training that sometimes you'll receive emails but different cybersecurity topics and phishing in particularly. And what we see is a huge correlation between the people who follow the training. They're less likely to click on that phishing that usually compromises your email and the logging and the password. Basically what you see that the people who actually work for the city or have the city equipment are encouraged to participate in this program. And you are the ones who actually have the city equipment. So you probably noticed sometimes the messages from Laura. And from my statistics report, I see that there's a fairly low engagement from this group, about 50% from what I could tell, if you go to the next slide. And this is just one kind of number that I see, but the most important one is the risk that associated with it. Typically, the people who not participating or not following the instructions, sometimes they click on that links. And the idea is that the more participating in the program, the more knowledgeable you become, the less likely you click on the email that says, hey, this is an important report, click here, that will compromise your username and the passwords. So the next slide, basically what we would like you to do is just 3 different things. So first thing is whenever we're sending messages, and usually it's once or twice a month, and it's a 20-second to 30 seconds video to watch it. Second thing that we would like you to do is to occasionally, you'll receive some tests that will be like phishing emails. They're not real ones, but it's very easy to spot. So if you spot them, you would have to report them. And it's very easy to do because there's a report phish button in Outlook on your computers. If you click on the next one, it's very easy. It's that little hook and so you click if you see the email that actually is a phishing, like you just report. And that's how we know that you learn from the messages that you receive. There's 2 ways. There's simplified ribbon or classic ribbon. And simplified, it's very small icons. There's like 3 dots, and then you report on, click on and report phish. So I understand that sometimes you probably receive a lot of spam messages because you probably use your computers not often. So so I encourage you, if you're not sure what you received or if you have questions, contact us. So typically, if you open your browser, you'll see this pictures right there. And there is a contact IT support. And I encourage you, if you have questions, get in touch with us. That's my report. Any questions?
I am probably the least likely to use your program because the only emails I ever click on come from two people. And I do not click on public or anything else unless I am told by these two people it's a valid email.
Okay.
I don't like emails coming in that I'm supposed to look for that might be phishing. It's not something I want to do. I don't do it at my house, and you're asking us to test. I understand we can click on Laura and watch the 30-second email, but now you're saying click on something and test whether it's phishing?
Yeah, so the program itself is very simple. So usually you'll receive regular emails, and sometimes you see it will be from Carla, right?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it will be from Carla, who's asking you to use your credit card information, your personal information, to send it to someone else. So that's a phishing, right? It's very easy to spot. So those type of emails, you report it. And that's how you learn. You spot it, and then you just click on.
So you want us to open emails that we don't know who they're coming from?
Open it when you double click and see what it is. It's okay to open, but if there's links that lead you to a different spaces where they're asking you to provide username and the password, probably not. But to view emails, it's okay.
To it. So anybody can get Carla's email off of the website, and because it's listed, and we're getting emails from real people at the county, and they're a really real person, and they're using their email, but it's somebody else that's creating the content in there, and it's the content. Once you open it, that's fine to open it, but if it smells fishy, it probably is. And so don't be giving credit cards, don't be sharing.
I'm aware of that, but I've already been through this with the ones that came from the mayor that supposedly told me to go and do something for breakfast or lunch or dinner. So it just if I get an email at home and I don't know who it's from. Now, Carla, if I get an email from her, it's going to have some sort of planning at. Now, if it changes out, these spam things, there is a change to them. They're not identical from the standpoint of who they come from.
Yeah, so and that's the challenge, right? There's different situations, different problems, and that's why I encourage, if you don't know, to usually pick up the phone and in touch with someone who's sending you a message.
Do you want us to pick up the phone and ask you if they're phishing emails? Should we check on them?
You can.
Okay.
Yeah. The main thing to realize is that all your emails are public right now. So your public figures, they're accessible. People send you messages. So there's a reasonable expectation that you receive a lot of emails from public. And some of those emails will be malicious. So you have to be aware of it and realize that sometimes, you would have to see that this is a spam. It needs to be deleted. Sometimes it's the phishing email they're asking for public, private information, personal information, things that you cannot disclose. And those you need to report.
This goes to policy. I think, and I have never understood why we get public emails to the commissioners, because first of all, anything coming from the public should be shared from the planning department to the commission. It should never be individual councilors or individual planning commissioners get specific private emails from the public. This should be shared knowledge and not something like what you're describing. It's a personal type of, I don't know that person. I've never met that person. Here, Carla, you can have this email. I'm not even opening it. So it's a real personal thing with me. I don't click on the tools on my phone that say I'm going to be arrested on. I don't click on emails. I don't know who they come from.
Good.
So it's just, that's my habit.
Good.
So I'll take a look at your Laura app. That's 50% of the program.
So one thing that to remember, it's very easy to spot those emails. You basically, if you search for cybersecurity, cyber awareness advocate, Laura, or laura@fishfirewall.com. You'll find all of those emails. They're very easy to identifiable. So if you see that, any other questions? Thank you.
Okay, we're all safe now. So, yeah, so anything for the good of the order? I would just like to say I am so pleased and happy to see all the work done on the corners. It was kind of a pain to get through the streets back and forth off Fifth Avenue, but amazing. They are amazing. And the crosswalk light from across Fifth from where I live to the clinics. Thank you. Yeah, it's a very good thing. Okay. Next thing, adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Okay, anybody opposed to that? All right, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.